Here we are. It's Sam and Puneet. It is the Martin Fowler Scrum. We've had a bit of a irregular week this week with me not doing very well. But yes, we're here. I'm on the mend. I'm still taking it relatively easy. What's going on? We're just reviewing the new admin email template editing feature from Piotr, who's having a good first week by all accounts in his new job with a German Ruby startup. Just Ken Shinji, just onboarding him into local support. What was happening yesterday? Kind of been doing some text pairing with Michael. We started working on autograders. Been reviewing their homework the first time at the Ruby intro, planning a mob programming session later on today with the autograder folks. Try and get that all sorted ready for it. That's sort of going to be released, I guess, next week. Yes, something like that. So reasonable progress there. Rescheduled the client meeting with Charles for next Tuesday. What else have we got going on? Put off the local support meeting until next week. Things basically under control. Lots of little bits and pieces to sort out, really. That's the website one kickoff retrospective on later today after the disaster order. How are things going with you, please?
Going fine, I guess, but not much progress. This week I was busy in a technical training in my office, so glad that finally got over. So I'm planning to take a look at assignment 1 of the MOOC, and also maybe take a look at backlog and what items I can pick on from the website for next.
Yeah, and you're set up with a Mentiv group, are you as well?
No, not for this session. Actually.
Oh, you're not. I think you mentioned maybe you were. Anyway, so you're not doing Mentiv this run.
No. This time I'm not doing it.
Okay, no problem. And I guess you haven't heard anything from Raj. You had that little session with him.
No. After that, I had no communication with him after that.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, that, because in some ways that's almost the kind of the nub of, I think, the challenge we have in making Agile Ventures sustainable is that you can have, and I've had this, and not the Raj, to his credit, he's put fantastic work, and he's completed a lot of stories in local support, and he's a great guy. There's just a kind of, I've had with other people who sort of talked about getting involved, and said, and they've asked me lots of information, and and they said, right, I'll see you tomorrow at this thing, and we'll do it, and I'm going to put all this time in, or whatever. And then they don't show up, and you don't hear anything from them again. And it's kind of, I guess it's not so surprising, because I think that's sort of how humans operate. And I think when I think of sometimes in sort of personal relations with people, you don't want to say, no, I've decided not to do it.
Right.
Kind of thing, because you never want to say anything. A lot of people, I think, want to avoid saying anything negative. The difficulty, I think, particularly for us, is that we can put a lot of resources and effort and energy into supporting people's possible interest, but then if that sort of ends up coming to nothing, it's challenging.
But when I joined initially, I did see myself going towards this pattern that I'm participating initially, but later on I'm just out. I'm just out of no contact at all with Agile Ventures, and I'm doing my stuff. And so I did felt that it is silly that I get involved in some sort of discussions that what's going on, what's up, and what are the items I can work on, and suddenly I have no time to. So yeah, I initially tried to make sure that I have sufficient time to get involved, just to ensure that I can sustain this thing. So that was important for me. So
go on.
So yeah, I don't know. I do expect that these things will keep repeating unless and until, I don't know, some another idea can be put forward on how to tackle with this issue. But for now, I can't see any workaround on this.
No. I mean, and I think it's and I think to your credit, you've been exceptionally good in, you've done a lot of great work, and you've also been very clear about when you have time available, when you don't have time available, and and that's also a skill. That's partly, one of the skills that people are getting involved in Agile Ventures is about this. How do we communicate effectively, and how do we, help our team operate? I mean, I think the interesting thing that I've seen is that, even when people are paying for access to educational materials, they still don't actually use them. It's kind of like best intentions, Yes, I think you're right. It's unlikely to change. It's sort of the nature of people. And I know some people I know are sort of like, well, people should behave like so-and-so, and we must make people be different. And I think it's quite difficult to fundamentally change how people are. And I think, the thing that I think is really interesting is how can we design the experience so that it takes that into account, given that we know people are likely to be a certain way. How can we design the user experience so that is, rather than being an obstacle, we're fitting the experience around their behavior.
There's one point I wanted to mention. So when you're starting, with initially attending the Scrum sessions, okay, so I do get this feel sometimes that, I haven't made much progress in this week. What should I update in the Scrum call? There's nothing to update. Why should I attend? Okay, but I realize that I have to get over this feeling and attend the Scrum at least to get updated and see what's going on, so that next time you at least think of picking on some item. You know that what's going on recently, and
yes,
it won't take much time to get started. So I do feel that, okay, even if you are not making much progress, which is kind of temporary, you should attend the Scrum. That's what I feel actually. So I try to be in touch actually, at least on minimum.
Yeah,
that's what.
And I think that's excellent. I think that's really good. And I think you touch upon there probably a reason why. And we've got people who maybe are embarrassed to it, or they feel reticent to attend the Scrum because they feel they haven't necessarily got anything to say. From my point of view, I don't know, because it's all a volunteer thing, I don't expect people to have done any work. And I would, in the Scrum, be just as interested in hearing about, technical things that they were struggling on, in their normal work days, things that they're trying to do in their careers, all these things. The idea is to sort of create, a kind of an open environment in which we can all share and learn. But I think that this is one of the things that I've learned, in many organizations, is that how much you want to necessarily create an environment without judgment. People are busy judging themselves. Do you know what I mean? They're used to an education system which assesses them. They're used to a work environment in which their bosses and possibly even their peers are assessing them. And so, it's a challenging thing to come in and just sort of say about these things. People always start with an apology of like, I haven't done much in Agile Ventures. And it's like, well, that's. I mean, the ironic thing there is like, why waste my time, as it were, telling me that you haven't done anything? Just tell me the things you have done.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's one of the major reasons that stops people from attending Scrums, because the way it works in big corporates.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that you need to deliver some particular items by end of this quarter or by end of this week.
Right.
So that thing carries on even at a place where it's there are no restrictions on when you want to deliver item. Just pick something and work on it. So but I think that thing carries on. Along.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing is and given that that's the case, is then what can we do to help people understand that this is a resource that's available to them if they want to reach out and grab it. And I don't know. I mean, I often come back to wondering if it wouldn't be better if we had more sophisticated support for text Scrum, so that it would make it easier for people to get involved in those. I'm not sure. For me, I think it's very valuable to be able to connect with you like this and have this in the chat now. And in the past, I've done that with lots of different, Thomas and Raoul and other people. I think it's been very valuable. Very valuable. I mean, the interesting thing is, we've got this mechanism that we set up to make it very easy, or supposedly to make it easy to get into the Scrum, and we record the video, then the video becomes available. I don't know to what extent people. We talk about, we've got that infrastructure which in some ways stands in the way of doing a sort of a text thing, or at least we would need to work out how to integrate those successfully. Sorry, I don't mean to start a long conversation there. I think the interesting thing to think about going forward, and maybe this can come up again in the kickoff retro for website 1 this afternoon, or later on, as it were.
So, are you planning to?
What, if any, small changes could we make to the system to, based on the understanding that we have about the way in which people operate? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, nothing to add on this. I just wanted to ask one thing. The programming, I think the mob programming that you're planning for assignment 1 for MOOC, will that be today?
Yes, it will.
Okay, so that will be in Kenbeck or the retro?
No, that'll be in the beta sources meeting, which is at
okay, sure.
UTC, yes, and it's in the event is in the Agile
sure
event list.
Oh yeah, by the way, I when I opened the events list, I couldn't find the direct link, so
really?
Yeah, I had to open the Slack channel. And
you mean to this Scrum?
Yes.
Oh. It's possible that may have been because you joined a little bit. I mean, this is the thing, and this is another thing. If we can get into the events list again. Slow. Is we like to the credit of all the people who were working on. Yeah, see what happens now is after a certain time, this only shows like future events.
Oh.
Not past events. So now, what should happen is that the Scrum that we're in now shouldn't disappear from here until like the 15-minute, like I don't know what time is it. I started this Scrum at 9:15 a.m. my time, and at that time it should have still appeared in this list,
right?
And it should stay there, I think, until 9:30, but maybe it doesn't, maybe it doesn't. Anyway, you can. This is the at least this is the event at which the mob programming will take place. I'm assuming you can see my screen at the moment.
Yes.
But so I mean, so to the credit of all the people who worked hard on website 1, they went a long way towards, I think, what was effectively my vision, that we would have this mechanism where people could effectively join and attend currently running meetings. They could see when those meetings were coming up, and when those meetings were live, there would be an easy way for people to jump into them. The difficulty that we have is, this is another general usability issue, is that I don't know. I think for people who know the system, it is very easy to get in, but I think we still have all sorts of usability issues associated with joining events and when things are displayed in which parts of the site and so on. Of course, what we don't know is, in terms of, like, say that we've got, at any given, say there's 100 people who could be online and could be wanting to attend, a given Scrum. To what extent is it the usability issues associated with the site? Maybe that's only affecting 1 out of that 100, and actually for 99 out of that 100 who might conceivably want to even attend or watch the stream today, it's more the kind of embarrassment, the reticence, the not understanding what a Scrum is, and that actually spending all the time polishing the code and the usability is not going to have the impact. So maybe it's just difficult to know. I wonder if the Google Analytics will one day. Yes, it's anyway. I think that all topics for the retro this afternoon.
Sure.
Yes. So anyway, so you know the times of the events that you need today. Okay. Well, I'll unless there was any other questions.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
feel free if there are things like that, feel free to open issues on the repo to say, oh, the Scrum thing didn't appear. Anything, just brain dump any kind of
Okay.
experiences where you, anytime that you feel slightly confused by the site, grab a
Mhm.
screenshot, slap it in there, and I think that's very important for us to be aware of those things, because I think that even if it is 99% of people not coming in through embarrassment or reticence or what have you, I think that smooth flow, even if we get to get that second or third person, it's worth having the the smooth user experience.
Sure.
Okay, great. Well, unless there's anything else, I'll see you in some of the meetings later today.
Absolutely. Good to see you getting better.
Thanks. Yeah, good. Thanks for checking in. Bye for now, Puneet. Take care.
Sure. Bye.